case you don't know me, my name's Will Pucovski. I grew up in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. I'm an only child. Dad's been probably the biggest influence on my cricket career to date. I started playing at Hampton United Cricket Club when I was 7 years old. I went on to play at Caulfield in the sub-district competition and then with Melbourne in the Premier competition. Dad was born in Serbia, or it was Yugoslavia at the time. He came over here when he was 7, and I have no idea why he got into cricket, but he did. He was a fast bowler who couldn't face 3 balls without trying to slog one for 6, which is quite funny because I can't really hit it off the square, but probably don't get carried away too much if there's a couple of dot balls. So I don't know how that works. Maybe Mum had the patience in her untapped cricket game. But Mum is Australian, so yeah, she doesn't have much of a cricket history herself, but yeah, likes the sport mainly because I like it, I think.
He's going to come back for the second, and it's 200 for Will Pucovski. What a performance by this young batsman. Outstanding effort, back-to-back double centuries, and surely he's got his name in the minds of the Australian selectors.
So I first got into cricket mainly playing with Dad in the backyard and then going down to the local nets. I remember as probably a 4 or a 5-year-old having to wear shin pads underneath my pads because they didn't have any in my size that were going to be, I guess, adequate enough in terms of protection. And then I've always just loved batting. I always used to remember going down before our under-12C games and having a hit on the Friday to make sure my eye was in for the Saturday morning, even though that logic doesn't really apply. But yeah, I've always loved training, which has probably separated it from other sports where I liked playing but didn't love training as much. But cricket's sort of given me that holistic feeling of I love trying to get better at it and then love obviously succeeding and winning on the field. At school, I think I was a pretty good student. I was a bit of a goody two-shoes. I probably didn't perform to my absolute peak. I like to blame a couple of injuries and cricket as a distracting factor, but as long as that keeps Mum happy, I'm pretty satisfied. So I started my junior pathway at the CMCA, which is now called the Seeker in the Mitchell Shield, and then had a pretty steady progression, I guess, in terms of going through all the systems from under 14, under 16 pathways, playing in the junior state sides, and then up to the under 19 state team. And then beyond that, played a bit for the Australian under 19s and then got a Victorian contract. So it was a fairly linear pathway.
And I really believe what you've done in Shield cricket, what you've been able to get yourself through, holds you in great stead to join this illustrious family, the Australian cricket family, and whatever challenge is in front of you, this group around you will help you through that.
It was pretty awesome just to receive your cap and play your first game, and it was a bit of a blur, to be honest. I'm looking forward to hopefully playing some test matches where it feels like a bit of a normal game of cricket rather than just sort of a bit of an out-of-body experience.
A huge roar around the ground.
I've had the chance to sort of reflect on it a bit, and yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it was just surreal. You were just out there and it just went so quickly. The 5 days felt like it went in the blink of an eye, and even batting, it just felt weird, is the best way to describe it. A good weird, but weird. I love soccer. That's a massive hobby of mine, so I follow the soccer very closely. I'm studying business at an online uni, which has been pretty fun over the last year or two, which has just given me something else to do. And then on top of that, I just love hanging out with my mates and my girlfriend and my dogs would be the main 3. Probably not in that order, to be honest, but yeah, all those 3 are pretty important factors in my life.